Welcome back to Be Inspired from Life. Most people believe attraction is something you do, something you perform. They think it's about saying the right thing at the right time, wearing the right clothes, having the right status, or walking into a room with some rehearsed confidence. But let me tell you something real, something you can feel when it's true. Attraction doesn't start when you open your mouth. It starts long before that. It starts in the quiet place, in the way you carry yourself when no one's watching, in the way you breathe when things don't go your way, in the way you respond or don't respond when the world tries to pull you off balance. People don't fall for words, they fall for energy, and energy never lies. You've felt it before. Someone walks into a room and they don't say a single thing, yet your attention shifts. Nothing flashy, nothing forced, just a presence, a stillness, a calm that feels grounded, unshaken. That kind of energy can't be faked, because it isn't learned from a script. It's earned through self-mastery, through knowing who you are and being at peace with it. See, when a person is constantly trying to impress, it creates noise. You can feel the tension, the neediness, the effort, and effort repels. But when someone is comfortable in their own skin, when they're not rushing to prove anything, that comfort spreads. It relaxes the room. It makes people feel safe, seen, and curious. And curiosity is where attraction begins. That's why these 6 words matter, not because they're magical, not because they manipulate anyone, but because when spoken from the right inner state, they communicate something deeper than sound. They say, I'm grounded, I'm present, I don't need to chase. And when you don't chase, people start wondering why. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need applause. Real confidence is quiet. It listens more than it speaks. It chooses its word carefully, not because it's afraid, but because it knows its value. And that kind of confidence, it's rare. That's why it's attractive. When you master your inner dialogue, the outer world responds differently to you. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. You stop giving your energy to situations that don't deserve it. And something powerful happens when you do that. Your presence sharpens. Your words carry weight. Silence becomes your ally. People can sense when you're at ease with yourself. They can sense when you're not trying to get something from them. There's no hidden agenda, no hunger for approval, just authenticity. And authenticity is magnetic because it gives others permission to relax and be themselves too. That's what the ancient thinkers understood. Control what's within you, and the world adjusts around you, not because you force it to, but because calm is contagious. When you don't let external noise disturb your inner balance, you become a point of stability in a chaotic world, and people are drawn to stability, especially in a world that's constantly shaking. The 6 words are simply a reflection of that stability. They work when your energy is aligned, when your mind isn't racing, when your heart isn't desperate, when you've done the inner work to know that you are enough, whether someone stays or walks away. That's power, quiet power. And here's the truth most people miss. The moment you stop needing to be chosen, you start being noticed. The moment you stop trying to be attractive, you become attractive. Because now your presence isn't asking for anything. It's offering something: peace, clarity, strength. So don't focus on perfecting the words. Focus on perfecting the state from which they're spoken. Build the calm, build the self-respect, build the discipline to remain centered when things don't go your way. Do that, and your energy will speak before you ever say a thing. Ours. When you master yourself, you don't attract attention. You command it. There's a quiet truth most people spend their entire lives running from, and it's this: the moment you need something from someone, you hand them power over you. Not because they're stronger, not because they're better, but because need creates imbalance, and imbalance shows up in your voice, your posture, your decisions. It leaks out in ways you don't even notice. That's why detachment isn't cold, it isn't selfish. It's freedom. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care without clinging. You show up fully, you speak honestly, you give your best, but you're not afraid of the outcome, and that's rare. In a world full of grasping hands and anxious hearts, someone who stands rooted, unafraid to lose, Becco. Mes, unforgettable. Most people are negotiating from fear. Fear of being ignored, fear of being replaced, fear of being alone. So they over-explain, they over-text, they overgive. They try to secure their place by shrinking themselves or performing for approval. And without realizing it, they signal the very thing that pushes people away, desperation. But when you remove that fear, something changes. Your words slow down, your eyes stay steady. You're no longer auditioning, you're choosing, and that shift is powerful. Because now, every interaction carries a quiet message. I'm here because I want to be, not because I'm afraid not to be. That's what those 6 words communicate when spoken from a detached place. They're not a plea. They're not a test. They're a boundary wrapped in calm. They say, I respect myself enough to walk away if this doesn't align. And here's the paradox. When people feel that you don't need them, they feel safer leaning in. Detachment removes pressure, and pressure is the enemy of attraction. Nobody wants to feel responsible for someone else's happiness. Nobody wants to feel like one wrong move will break everything. But when you're emotionally self-sufficient, when your peace doesn't rise and fall based on someone else's reaction, you become easy to be around. Grounded, steady, strong. That strength doesn't come from pretending you don't care. It comes from knowing you'll be okay either way. If they stay, you're grateful. If they go, you're grounded. You don't chase what leaves. You don't beg what hesitates. You let people choose freely. And freedom is attractive. The old thinkers understood this deeply. They taught that attachment to outcomes is the root of suffering. Not love, not connection. Attachment, the need for control, the fear of loss. When you release that grip, you gain something far more valuable than approval. You gain dignity, and dignity changes how the world treats you. People listen differently when your voice isn't shaking with need. They respond differently when your silence isn't filled with anxiety. Even rejection feels different when you're detached, because it doesn't feel like a verdict on your worth. It's just information, and information doesn't wound. Guides. This is where real attraction lives, not in manipulation, not in chasing, but in choice, in restraint, in the courage to stand alone without feeling lonely. When you're complete within yourself, relationships become an addition, not a rescue, and that's why detachment becomes the ultimate magnet, because it signals abundance. It says, my life is full, you're welcome here, but you're not the source of my value. That energy is unmistakable. It commands respect without demanding it. It invites interest without asking for it. So when you speak those 6 words, let them come from that place. A place of calm certainty, a place that knows its worth, a place that doesn't flinch at silence or fear the unknown. Speak them without expectation, without attachment, without needing a specific result. Because the strongest position you'll ever stand in is this, complete on your own, open by choice, and unafraid to walk away with. Your head held high. Thank you so much for watching. If this video inspired you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to be inspired from life for more motivational content. And remember, no matter where you are in life, you have the power to change your future. See you in the next video.